right? I have an elephant who weighs 7 tons and I have an elephant who weighs 5 tons. This is the distribution of elephant weights. Say I have sparrows, right? I have sparrows, or say I have cockatiels, right? So a cockatiel who weighs 125 grams, 100 grams and 75 grams. Would that be the weights of cockatiels? Mostly. Yeah? Okay. So probably, yeah. Yeah?
What is a cockatiel?
A cockatiel is a small cockatoo. It's a small parrot which has a crest on its head. Those are Australian small cockatoo, right? So they will weigh about 75 grams. Cockatiel is a small African Australian parrots. Yeah. So 125, 100 and 75. You might see them in pet shops. The small birds which have a crest on their head and which whistle beautifully. Yeah. So you sometimes see them. Yeah. So 975, right? Now suppose, so they have different means and different variances. These are tons, these are grams. Yeah. So they have different scales altogether. And therefore the alphas would really be different, which cut them into 5% and 95%. Now suppose, what is the mean of the elephant weights? What is the mean weight of elephants? 7. So let me start by subtracting 7 from each of these. So I created new elephant series weight. T minus 7. So I have 9 minus 7, 7 minus 7, 5 minus 7. What is that? What is the mean of this series now? 0. When I subtract by alpha, what do? I actually shift the entire distribution on one side. Each value gets the factor of alpha. So the shape is retained, but the distribution gets shifted. So I am changing the scale. Right? I am changing the scale. Right? So if something were here, if I subtract from each value a constant quantity, the entire distribution shifts by a constant quantity here. Is this clear? Okay. What is the mean weight of cockatiels? Yeah? 100. So, C minus 100. What is 125 minus 100? What is the mean weight of this? 0. Right? Okay. So what have I done? I have shifted the distribution physically. Shape of the distribution remained unchanged. It was normal, continues to be normal. But both the distributions have the same mean. So एक problem तो मैंने solve कर दिया. आधा मेरा problem solve हो गया कि mean और variance same चाहिए. Right? That problem is solved. Okay. Now, what is the catch now? Their variances are still different. So both these distributions have the same mean on this table, but still they have different shapes because their variances are different. So one could be like this, the other could be more spread out, and so the alphas are going to be still different. So therefore, now the next step is to get them to have the same variances. Okay. So now think of sigma square E as the weight of an elephant, as the variance of the weight of an elephant. Sigma square C is the variance of cockatiel weights. Right? Okay. Now think of any random variable x which has the variance sigma square x. Yeah? We know an important equality. We know that if I multiply each value of x by 10, the variance will get multiplied by 100. If I divide each value of x by 10, what will the variance get divided by? 100. Because x upon 10 is 1 upon 10 into x. So variance of 1 upon 10 into x is 1 upon 10 square into variance of x. Right? For example, is this clear? Now, suppose I divide, it's a very important point, so make sure you understand this. suppose we have x and sigma square x is the variance of x. Okay? I divide each value of x by sigma x. Sigma square x is the variance of x. Each value of x I have divided by the standard deviation of x. What would be the variance of this quantity? One upon sigma square x into the variance of x. But what is the variance of x? Sigma square x. So this would be one upon sigma square into sigma. So if I divide any random variable by the standard deviation, the variance of that quantity is just 1. Right? Now, so what do I have to now do? I've got all these x's. I've transformed the mean, the series of elephant weights and cockatiel weights by subtracting the mean and force them to have the same mean, which is 0. But their variances are still sigma square E and sigma square C. Right? So now understand the point. Okay, now understand the crucial point. If x is elephant weights, and suppose this is normally distributed with mean mu and variance sigma square E, then x minus mu is again normally distributed with mean 0 but plus variance sigma square E, because the shape remains the same, the mean becomes 0. So sigma E, if I now divide this by the standard deviation, would now be normally distributed mean 0 and variance 1. You see the point? This is called a standard normal variable. This is called the standard normal variable. This is called the standard normal variable. So what do? You take any normal distributed random variable, subtract from its mean and divide by the standard deviation. It gets, then the result is it continues to be normally distributed but with mean 0 and variance 1. Now, yeah.
So in the second step, when we subtract mu from x,
Yeah.
okay, then instead of mu on the right hand side it becomes 0. So why does that?
Because this had a mean 7, I subtracted 7 from both sides. So what do I get? I get 2, 0 and minus 2. What is the average of that series? 0. That's what. Yeah? In fact, the average value of x minus mu will necessarily be expectation of x minus mu. And expectation of x is anyway mu. Expectation of x is anyway mu. Right? So it will be 0. Sure? Okay. Now, because 0 and 1 are fixed, the shape is fixed. So if the shape is fixed, alpha is fixed. Yeah? And that alpha, all of you know, is minus 1.65. 95% of this distribution lies to the right of minus 1.65. If you take minus 1.65, but it's a symmetric distribution. So minus 1.65, you take 5% on this side and 5% on this side, you get minus 1.65 here, plus 1.65 here, and 90% distribution will lie between minus 1.65 plus 1.65. Instead of choosing that 5%, if you choose 2.5%, then you get the values minus 1.96 plus 1.96. Right? Okay? When you decide to choose, what will govern the choice between minus 1.65 or minus 1.96? No. Minus 1.96 means that the probability of type 1 error is smaller. Minus 1.65 means probability of type 1 error is larger. So in this case, for example, if you are very concerned that no unhealthy elephant should go back into the population, suppose the elephants are suffering from some incurable disease which is highly contagious, then even if you suspected that elephant, which is sort of vague suspicion that this guy who's been captured is unwell, you want to send him to a quarantine. Right? So you would be happy even if you're sending a lot of healthy elephants to quarantine, as long as no unhealthy elephant goes back to the population. In this case, you will allow for a large type 1 error. Right? So you would say, if this were your normal distribution, this would be minus 1.65 plus 1.65. You would allow elephants to be sent to quarantine if they are this far. Right? But suppose the disease was not so contagious and the situation was not so life-threatening. But see, the costs of keeping elephants, there was no place, for example, in Dehradun to keep additional elephants. The cost of keeping elephants was very high. In which case, you would want to reduce that amount. You would say, ठीक है, ये unhealthy रहेगा तो भी चलेगा जाएगा तो इसको कहाँ रखूँ मैं उधर? Even if some people, some who I can clearly make out are unhealthy, I will send them there. Right? So you have to make a decision about what that value is. It doesn't have to be 5% or 10%. It can be whatever choice is up to you. It can be 2.5, it can be 2.7, it can be 3.9. Depends on the choice that you have to make. Depends upon the costs and benefits of the decision that you're doing. Yeah.
So the value is minus 1.65 and plus 1.65, they are derived from that formula.
Yeah, because if you are going to fix, see, if this is your distribution, if say, this is your distribution, you are trying to find the value alpha and beta here, which contains 500 distributed to this side, 500 distributed to this side. Now these values depend upon the shape of the distribution, and the shape of the distribution depends upon mu and sigma square. So if you fix mu and sigma square for once, those values will also get fixed for once. Right? It's like that, All cakes made are identical cakes. You want to cut, you have a machine which cuts the cake into two parts, one 5% and 95%. So what will happen? You can then have a scale. There will be a fixed number here. The cake will come like this. A knife will descend on top. Two partitions will happen. But if all the cakes don't have the same shape, then obviously your knife will not work. You have to, every time there will be a different point which you will have to cut. So what we are really doing by standardizing the distribution is making sure that all the normal distributions are the same shape. All of them are cakes which we can cut at the same point. So be they squirrels, beetles, elephants, dinosaurs, gaur, Indian bison, whatever. Right? You can have the same number. Yeah? You can have the same number. Is this clear? So therefore the standard normal distribution, which we call the Z distribution, is a very important distribution. Is this clear to everybody? Any questions on this? This is a very, very centrally important idea in hypothesis testing. So please make sure that you understand this idea well. Any doubts? Any questions? Yeah? Yeah?
So what is the value for the last value in the distribution? Say 1.96 represents 0.5%.
So you put minus 1 to 2.5%, 2.5% this side. But this distribution never becomes 0. It goes to minus infinity to plus infinity.
So 1.65
is a value which will contain, which will have the property that 5% will lie to this side, 5%. Minus 1.96 have the property that 2.5% will lie here, 2.5% will lie here.
So what is the last value? 2.1. That is the last
No.
value.
We are from ABUP. So today we have arranged a protest rally. 1 minute.
We will wait till the finish my class.
Okay, we just one announcement. Today we have organized a protest rally. We are from ABUP, the largest student organization in India, working for the betterment of the students. Student community, not just students, faculty, the administration of university. Today we have arranged a major rally. The main point is that to highlight the lacunas prevailing in the administration system of the university. Or a few examples are lack of medical practitioner in our medical center and the time taken for declaration of results, re-evaluation fees is very high, and the re-evaluation results are also getting delayed, so that many students are missing their next further admissions. So to highlight all these points, we have planned a major protest rally. It is for the betterment of the students and betterment of the university. It is not against any single individual or any single person. It is for the welfare of the students only. So we request you all to kindly participate in front of Central Canteen at 12:30. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, in our system, there are no revaluation fees in the autonomous system, and results come revaluation results come within 3 days. So this is true for, this is true for the university. Yeah. So just to keep you informed, because in our system, once your papers will be shown to you, if you are not happy with your papers, then you have to apply to me as the director for evaluation. That's a free procedure, and then that normally gets done in 3 to 4 days. So because we are a small system, right? But you're free to take your own decision. In the university, it's different. All of you know. Yeah? Right. So now with this, so basically there is no last value. This distribution is like this. So it never touches the x-axis here. It continues to go on like this. In fact, this x-axis is called the support of the distribution. Okay, the statistical name for the x-axis is the support of the distribution. And the support for the normal distribution is minus infinity to plus infinity. The support for the Poisson distribution for lambda is 0 to infinity. Right? The support for say binomial distribution would be 0 to infinity. It's a value which lambda can take. Yeah? So right, because it's the number of successes, no? In the number of tries. So it will be 0 to n. It will be 0 to n, right? Sure? So that's what we mean by support. And for the normal distribution, the support is minus infinity to plus infinity. That's the idea of a support. Okay. So now, okay. So another important idea that I'm going to introduce to you. Okay? Yeah.
One clarification.
Yeah.
In the example of the rate of the factor numbers as 9, 7, 5, the average mean is 7. So we have 0 and we add the deviation. What is that called? Is it called average?
No, I said the sum of the deviation from the mean were 0. So we just added the sum of the deviation. And you know, in the example which I set up, it was 975, but you know that will hold for any set of number if the sum of the deviations around the mean are 0. So the average of the sum of the deviations around the mean will always be 0, because the sum of the deviations around the mean is 0. Because you find x bar by imposing the condition summation xi minus x star is equal to 0. Do you remember we did that early on? Summation xi, so that will be true for any x. Okay. Now think of x1, x2, xn as a normally distributed sample coming from a population with mean mu and variance sigma square. Think of x bar. Okay? Think of x bar. X bar is a random variable. So it will have a probability distribution, right? Okay, let's find out what kind of a probability distribution it would have. First, we know that x bar is xn upon n, which is one upon n x1 plus 1 upon n x2 plus 1 upon n x3 plus 1 upon n xn. So x bar is x1 into a constant plus x2 into a constant plus x3 into a constant, so on. Now x1 is a normally distributed random variable, because what is x1? The first item in that sample. Any item can be the first item in the sample, so x1 is a random variable having a normal distribution. x2 is a random variable having a normal distribution. xn is a random variable having a normal distribution. So x bar is in fact one normally distributed random variable into a constant, which is 1 upon n, plus another normally distributed random variable into a constant, plus a third normal distribution into a constant, so on. So it's many normally distributed random variables multiplied by a constant and sum. There is a result which says that if you take such normally distributed random variables, multiply them by constants and add that together, what results is also a normally distributed random variable. So we know that x bar must be a normally distributed random variable, right? With some mean and some variance. With some mean and some variance. How do you find the mean of x bar? You find expectation of x bar. Yeah? Which is what? Which from this is 1 upon n expectation of x1 up to 1 upon n expectation of xn. Yeah? What is expectation of x1? Mu. Because any random, any value of any element of the any element of the population can be x1. That is the first item chosen. Any item can be chosen the first one. So the mean value of the first item chosen is nothing but the mean value of the population. Right? So this would be yeah. So what is that value equal to? 1 upon n mu plus 1 upon n mu plus 1 upon n mu plus 1 upon n mu times n times, yeah, which is equal to n mu upon n, which is mu, So this gets fixed. Mu. Okay. So the mean of x bar is mu. Next question to describe is the variance of x bar. Next is the variance of x. So what is the variance of x and y? Variance of x plus y is equal to expectation of x plus y, yeah, by the formula for the variance, right? This is equal to what? Yeah, because expectation of x plus y is expectation of x plus expectation of y. There is a minus there. This can in turn be written as yeah? Sure? Now what is a plus b square? The first part is a, x minus expectation x. The second part is b. A plus b square is a square plus b square plus 2ab. Nobody ever forgets that formula. Right? So I will write this as so I would get course. Yeah? A square x minus expectation x plus b square plus 2ab. Sure? Now what is this first part? Expectation of x minus expectation x whole square? Variance of x. So this part is, what is this part? Variance of y. Now what is this part? Covariance of x minus expectation x, y minus expectation y is the covariance of x, y. So plus 2. Yeah? Can you explain this formula intuitively to me? Why is it happening like that? Can you explain it intuitively? So suppose whenever x varies, y also varies. And whenever y varies, x also varies. Now I am trying to calculate the joint movement between x and y. I am trying to look at the total movement in x and y. So when I calculate the movement in x, there is always some movement in y. So the movement in x also means there is the fact that x has moved means that y has also moved. So when I look at the movement in x itself, in the system x plus y, some additional movement is happening for y. Similarly, when y moves, there is an additional movement happening in x. So when I add the movement in x and y, I am adding twice the movement that is happening to x and y because of the given that they are moving together. So therefore